For this story, I've talked to Pearl Jam's original tour manager, Eric Johnson, and he tells us a little bit about the very first night 35 years ago that Pearl Jam played their very first show. I'm here with Eric Johnson, who worked with Pearl Jam back in the day. I figured he would be a special guest to talk about the very first show.
Hi, Wes, our friend, by the way. He's going to join us for this thing. I remember going back to, and I'm not even going to remember the year, it was probably 1990 or 89. I had gone to the Concrete Foundation's forum with Soundgarden. I was kind of the early road manager with Soundgarden and did the merch and just all around roadie. And I remember being with Chris Cornell and running into Stone Gossard and Jeff Ament, and them telling us that they had a new singer with their band, and did we want to come and listen to this tape? And I seem to remember it was at the Hyatt House on Sunset, and we went to the room, and it was a 4-song tape. I remember we were kind of blown away by it and figuring it was absolutely the right guy for the band. I'm not sure they were looking for my opinion, but I happened to was lucky enough to be there. And then I remember Eddie came to Seattle, I think, and did stuff with the band. But at the time, we were all out of Curtis Silver management, you know, and so a bunch of bands were working together, and we all just kind of knew these guys were doing it. And I remember the night of the Off-Ramp show, Keith Wismar and we were the Soundgarden roadies. I think just because of the nature and the kind of the familial feel of everybody at the office, we offered to go and pick up the gear at Potato Head and bring it to Off-Ramp. I remember we had borrowed Keith's brother-in-law's van. It was a green Dodge Tradesman van. And he was a plumber. His name was Tony. He was a plumber, and it was full of plumbing gear. And there was an old bathtub in the back of the van as well that I remember distinctly setting amps inside a bathtub. And we went and kind of roadied the show. And I remember on the way home, we got pulled over by the cops somewhere in Belltown, I think, for not having a taillight, or a taillight was out. And I believe we talked our way out of that and still ended up making it back, and probably unloaded the gear at 2:30 or 3 in the morning. And I think that's how we became Pearl Jam's first guys, is just because we volunteered to load gear for their first show. I think.
What do you remember about that first night of the show itself?
You know what? Off-Ramp shows, it was special. There was a reverence. I think that just because it was Stone and Jeff and everybody expected something. I mean, they were coming out of a thing where everybody knew that they were the guys. So I think that there was sort of a reverence, and everybody knew that they had got this new singer, and he was great. I think it was a really beautiful show. I think everybody instantly knew it was going to be it almost felt like it was already a commercial success when it started. It just had that feeling of like, oh wow, this is what it's supposed to be. I'm sure that's not what they really want to hear, but it was an honest, beautiful show, but it was so good that you knew it was going to be great.
Well, thank you very much. Appreciate it.